What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pendergast podcast. Now, I'm telling you guys, this one right here is going to be an awesome adventure, and it's an absolute honor to sit down with my friend, Sonya Lloyd. What is going on?
Nothing much, just hanging out, recovering from Atlanta. So, yeah, stoked to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, listen, it's an absolute honor to have you on the podcast. Speaking of Atlanta, we actually got to meet, which was again an absolute honor. So yeah, while we're on the subject, let's go ahead and knock Atlanta out the way while we're here right now, right? So tell us how your whole Atlanta weekend went, and did you have any expectations going into this weekend?
Yeah, so with it being such a technical track, we weren't really sure where we were going to stand with everything. And was a little disappointed day one. I actually didn't qualify in Q1. I was just outside of the bubble. So kind of slept on it and came back and qualified in Q2. But it was, yeah, I know it was step one, but it was starting in the back of the grid. So knew I had some places to make up, but ended up 19th day one. So we survived. Yep, it was good. And then day two was pouring rain. And I actually ended up crashing in warm up. It was really my first time in the rain, but my team got the bike back together and we ended up 11th day two. So we were pretty stoked. It was fun sliding around a little bit.
Yeah, so Friday and Saturday the weather was absolutely gorgeous, and
Yeah.
then Sunday it just the skies opened up. It rained all day, and after the last race, what maybe 20 minutes, it was sunny and bright, clear skies. It was but that's a race weekend.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
actually excited for it. I was looking forward to getting that out of the way.
yeah, absolutely. And listen, like my man Andrew Davis just said, he said you look solid in the rain. Absolutely. So speaking of that, this is your first time racing in the rain in general, or just with this team on this bike at this track?
No, in general, I've only been road racing for about a year and a half now. So a lot of experiences are kind of new for me at the moment.
I love it. I love it. So speaking of that, Atlanta was absolute amazing weekend. I'm glad that I got to meet everybody that showed up and enjoyed my time spending it with everybody I did. It was a absolute honor. But listen, Sonya, let's take it from the very beginning. How did you get into two-wheel motorcycles from the get-go?
Yeah, so my dad was a national number flat tracker for a little bit. So yeah, he's pretty cool. Then he turned into an awesome tuner. So I kind of grew up in the AFT paddock, following him around and just observing stuff. But at that time, I had no idea that kids could even ride motorcycles. Like all I saw was these 20, 30-year-olds riding. So I never really had the want to get on a bike. And then when I finally figured out that kids can ride, my dad kind of discouraged it, wasn't really allowed to. There's a lot of highs and lows in motorcycles. So when I was 17, I pretty much told him, like, we have a van, there's a 150, I found a race that's like an hour and a half away, like I'm going, would love for you to come, I'm feeling invincible, I'm 17. So he ended up coming, which was awesome. We had a blast, and that was my first time on a racetrack, on dirt, flat tracking, and got lapped, but had a blast. So that's kind of how I started. And then that was beginning of 2020. So
Flat tracking is an absolute amazing, and it amazes me. I love to watch flat track racing. It's doing flat tracking. So back before the four-stroke era, right? Us Americans, King Kenny and everybody, flat track is an absolute awesome sport. So they could translate that into the 500 Grand Prix, the way they slid, right? And then they went to Love the Dog, by the way. Absolutely. What's his name or her name?
this is Otis.
Nice. Love it. I got Charlie. I try to get her to come in here with me, but she's in there hanging out with Rossi and his friend from school. They're playing Fortnite, and I guess she's queen of the castle in there, watching everybody. So, but yeah. Anyway, flat track. The style would translate, and then once four strokes started taking over and all the electronics started taking play, it really didn't make that big of a difference because your riding style is completely different. But back it up to flat track in general, I think it's one of the best things you can learn how to race or ride a bike. Yes, it is just lefts. You guys do rights at certain tracks too sometimes, or just always left?
If it's a TT sometimes, but I really only went left.
Left. Right
Yeah.
on. But that translates. So now you learn how to control the bike without any front brakes at all, right? You're doing the speed on. What are you doing on the flat track, Sonya?
Oh, I wouldn't even know. I maybe 40 on a big track that I go to, but I mean the pros go like 110 on the miles, but I never
That's
got there.
that's insane, right? So I assume that's something you would want to do in the future. Is that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's on my bucket list. I got to ride a mile at one point.
Yes, I love it. Well, we got to make it happen, right? So you come up from flat tracking. So what was your first proper flat track bike that you owned?
So I had a little 150, and so that was my Mad Dog bike. So I just rode the little Mad Dog classes. And my dad was hoping, maybe I'd just stick to that and not go any crazier. But ended up getting a 250, and then just bought myself my first 450. So yeah.
Nice, nice Yamaha, right?
No, it's not. It was actually before this deal came together. So I
That's
know.
okay. Yeah, no, it's all
Yamaha.
good, right? Right, right. But so let me ask you this for the people that are listening or that are going to listen to this, and me myself included, what does it take to take a motocross bike and turn it into a proper flat track bike?
Yeah, so it's really just lowering it down, putting some different tires on it, taking the front brake off, and there's a lot of different stuff you can do to it. But if you really just want to start, just lower that bike down, make it a lot easier.
So did you do any type of training, like take any, like they have a corner spin school and corner speed and stuff like that? I assume they have flat track school too, right?
They do. I never did it because they're not really around here. I'm in Georgia, but I would always ask my dad questions and like how to ride and stuff. But he'd just be like, "Oh no, just do what feels right. Go out there and just do your best." Like he never really pushed me in any direction. So,
He's like, just wing it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. So flat track, you started flat tracking. Did you ever win a race in flat tracking?
So yeah, that's all I did. Like the first time I went on a track, I was racing. So there wasn't many track days. So the only time I could get on a track was during a race. So yeah, I'm a racer from the beginning. I love
I
it.
love it. I love it. And what's the cost to enter a flat track race?
It's gone up a little bit now, but I think it was only $30 a class for the night. So not too bad. I mean, I would enter like 3 or 4, so it kind of got a little pricier, but yeah, not bad if you want to get into it.
But versus road racing, right? To
Oh,
enter, right. It's astronomical difference in price for sure. Yeah, flat tracking is just absolutely amazing. It's
it
amazing
is.
to watch, and just by you doing it, I mean, you'd absolutely destroy me. I'd be a beginner. Yeah, just zoom around. Yeah, yeah. It's something I always wanted to do, though. No BS. I always wanted to actually learn how to do the flat track. That I see them guys, and dude, the handlebars literally this far from the ground, and it's the front wheels cocked, and the rear's just. And I'm like, this is absolutely like it's poetry in motion, and it's so beautiful to see and watch.
There's nothing like that feeling of a slide. It is
Yeah.
so cool.
So the first time you did the slide and you really understood it and got it under control, what was that feeling like?
Well, I thought I knew how to do it for the longest time, but I was just stabbing the rear brake, and somebody was like, "No, that's not real," and I was all hurt. And so then when I actually felt it for the first time, I mean, it was so cool. That's the addicting part. So I definitely see why people do it till they're 70, 80 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the price that it costs to enter a race. Assume you have one at least nearby. That's feasible to travel to. So what's the closest flat track to? Because I'm in Virginia, and I don't know any that are in Virginia. I could be mistaken. There might be some, but I don't know of any. Um,
Our closest one's like an hour and a half away.
oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't run it too much though, so we're typically driving 3 to 4 hours to get to some of them.
I got you. I got you. So from flat track, how did this transition into the proper legend you are right now in road racing?
So this is kind of a crazy story, but it all started in end of 2021, I was at a flat track race in North Carolina, and Dale Quarterly was there. And I had no idea who Dale Quarterly was, but I ended up Googling him after, and I was like, wow, this dude's like legendary road racer. But he came up to me and he introduced himself, and he asked if I had ever tried road racing before. And I was just so uninterested. I was like, no, thank you, but no, I love flat track. And he was pretty much like, well, the way you flat track, I feel like you'd be a really good road racer. So he gave me his card. And after that, I started looking into the BTR program. I was kind of like, oh, maybe this can give me some road racing experience. I'll try it for a season. So I applied and I got denied because I didn't have any experience. So I ended up applying for a study abroad in Spain for the summer in 2022. And that was in Valencia, Spain. And the MotoGP was going to be in Barcelona. So I bought a ticket and I went, and through flat tracking, my dad actually had a relationship with Paolo Ciabatti. I know I'm totally saying that wrong, but the director of Ducati.
Yep.
And I didn't know this, but he had reached out to him and was like, hey, my 20-year-old daughter's going to be in Barcelona. Like, if there's any kind of event or something she could go to, it'd be super cool. Hope you're doing well. And he responded, and he pretty much gave me VIP tickets and pit pass and everything. And he was like, yeah, come meet me. I'll show you around the garage and the pits and everything. So I go over there, and it's like a 4-mile walk to the track, like each day. Like, it's crazy. It's this huge event. And I go in and I meet Paolo, and he shows me around the garage, and I meet Jack Miller. And then he's showing me around the paddock, and we pass the 2-Up ride place. And he's pretty much like, do you dare? And I was like, do I dare? Of course I would dare. That, yeah. So long story short, he gets me a 2-Up ride. And that was my first time on a road race bike. It was on a MotoGP.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. We went, I think we hit like 180 miles an hour or something. And my helmet was like sliding down.
All right, hold on. We got to take it back. I'm so jealous right now. A 2-Up ride with Chris Ulrich would be absolutely legendary, right? But to be on a Ducati MotoGP bike would just be like extra legendary, right? So what was the emotions like sitting on it? And what, I know it happened like this, and it's probably hard to remember everything, right? But what was that like? I gotta know. Please, I gotta know.
Well, it was crazy because, it just didn't feel real because I was in this other country alone, didn't know anybody, was just making friends. And I get on this bike and I'm the first one to go out. They're like, oh yeah, you do it first. And I was like, oh my God. And he takes off and he does a wheelie, and you don't even feel the wheelie because it's so smooth. And then it drops down and you're like, oh, here we go. And you're going and you're trying to lean with him, and all you see is just the stripes going by, and my helmet's like sliding down from the wind and everything. And man, you could just feel it like in your soul. It was so cool. Then he does his stoppie when he comes back to the line, and then it's done. Yeah, it feels like a split second.
What did you guys do 2 laps?
Just one.
Oh,
I know.
And you rode with Randy Mamola, correct?
No, it was I can't remember his name. Really old MotoGP racer guy. Has one of those Italian names.
Giacomo Agostini. I don't think he would do it.
No,
yeah, I don't know. It could be anybody, right? It wasn't Valentino Rossi for sure, right? How legendary would that be?
Someday.
right. Someday, absolutely. So, okay, my mind's blown. Like I thought my trip to BSB was legendary, which it was. It's absolutely the best race weekend of my life, but I'm lost for words right now, to be honest with you, because it was yeah.
If you just say yes to things, cool things happen. So.
Absolutely. And I see that smile when you said it. It was just, I felt the emotion. It's so anyway, 2-Up ride comes back, and you probably get off the bike, change out the leather suit, civilian clothes again, and you probably think to yourself, what the hell just happened? Did that really just happen?
Exactly. Yeah. And from there, I was totally hooked. Not unfortunately, but I was going to be in Spain for the next 2 months. So I pretty much just spent that whole time studying and listening to podcasts and watching races. And I was like, by the time I get back to America, I'm gonna get on Dale's 400, and I'm gonna be pro. Like, it's gonna be great.
I'm gonna send it. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I love it. So yeah,
Yeah.
the 2 months out, it was absolutely a trip of a lifetime, right? Because I know mine when I went to the UK, I was just like you, Sonya. My wife and my son stayed at home. Fortunately, I knew two people. One of my good mate is Dave Neal. His off track shirts right here. He has a podcast, by the way, called Off Track Podcast out there. He does BSB. He is in TT guys, and he's absolutely brilliant and amazing. He's a good mate of mine, so you guys should go check him out. But I knew him and a rider mindset coach, a good buddy of mine, Daniel Parker, and he actually picked me up at Heathrow, and I was all alone. I thought to myself, Sonya, I was like, man, I wonder if I'm gonna get homesick, right? Because I can't just drive 2-3 hours home or whatever it is, right? But it was absolutely the opposite. I felt so much warmth and love from everybody. Like, I didn't get homesick at all. Not taking nothing away from my wife or my son, because they know they're my everything, but just the going to a different country and being accepted like that just makes the trip so much more better, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're so nice over there. It's crazy.
So what was your favorite food you ate there?
Oh, so in Spain they have patatas bravas. They're like these little potatoes, but they've got this cream on them. Oh, they're so good. They are delicious. I lived like right next to this little hut that had them. Really good.
So that was an everyday thing, right? You're
Oh
like,
yeah.
yep,
Oh yeah.
order here. As soon as they seen you coming, you're like, yep, we already know. Here you go.
Oh yeah. That and some agua de Valencia. They've got this really good orange juice stuff. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So have you tried to replicate it and make it yourself at home?
I have not. I'm an okay cook. I make some nice dinners, but I don't know. Spanish food's really tough. I mean, if you can't do it right, you shouldn't be doing it, you know?
But that's part of learning, right? Just like road racing, crawling before you walk, the whole thing, right? You got, and that's a good thing about cooking too, right? But we'll talk about all that later. But yeah, I just wanted to ask. My favorite thing in the UK that I ate was proper fish and chips. No lie, it
Ooh.
was so good. Like, and with the curry sauce, oh my god, it was. I miss it dearly.
Ah, so
It
fun.
was so good.
I went to England once and I went to the Festival of Speed there. And I just remember being there and they were like, "Oh, do you want salad on your burger?" I was like, "I don't want salad on my burger," but they meant lettuce. But just
Yeah.
the way they said things was pretty cool in England. I
Yeah,
like it.
it was because at Cadwell, I was like, man, I'm starving. Daniel, let's go get a hot dog, right? They had this hot dog and a little thing where I got me a pint, of course, and a hot dog. And I walk up and he's like, what you want in your hot dog? I was like, can I get coleslaw and jalapenos? And he looked at me like I was speaking Spanish and French and Italian. He's like, we have curry sauce and onions. I was like, that works, right? Like, yeah, okay. And mustard and ketchup over there, right? Yeah, it's definitely a different experience, but it's one that I want to do it again. I plan on going back in 2025 for sure. Cadwell Park. Speaking of which, would you race at BSB if you get given the opportunity to go overseas?
Oh, absolutely. I think racing in Europe would be so cool. That's my next step, you know?
Absolutely. So, all right, MotoGP weekend, trip of a lifetime at a MotoGP event, right? I mean, let's just be honest. That's a once in a lifetime. There's millions of people that would kill or
Oh
give
my
almost everything just to experience that, right? Yeah, so bravo to you. It's absolutely amazing. You got to experience that. So the love for not two wheels, road racing on the road started from there, right? And so when
God.
you come back to the States, you call Dale. What's up, Dale? Sonya, I'm ready to kick everybody's ass. Let's go.
That's pretty much exactly how the conversation went.
I love
Yeah, it
it.
was like a year after he'd met me, and I finally called him up and was like, "Let's do it. Like, this will be awesome." And he was super cool. He was awesome. He invited me up. We did some go karting, and then he took me to VIR. Yeah, yeah, Virginia. But that was pretty intense for a first time out. It's definitely a huge track.
It
So
is. It's a
that was
beautiful track, right? I mean, it's the pit's big. I mean, there's a lot of area. You know, it's a gorgeous track. I like it. It's
Have
my
you
home
rode
track,
on there
of course.
before?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great track. Yeah, it is right. My favorite corner is if at turn 7, coming under the bridge, braking hard right, and going up that hill right there is just yeah. You get it wrong, it absolutely sucks ass. You get it right, it's beautiful, right? And of course, the back section is fun too. Coming back down the back hill, 17A and B, and then coming out. Yeah,
Yeah, it's fun coming down that hill, just letting it flow. Oh
just
yeah.
letting it. Yeah, it is. It's good. It flows. It's a really good flowing track too. It's been a while since I've been out there. Honestly, it's been about 6 years.
Oh
My
wow.
yeah, since I've done a track day. I just one hadn't really had the time to do one because that's really what it takes is time, right? I mean, track days, they're not that expensive. Set of tires, I mean, just they're really not that expensive, especially if you're not out there trying to just do as fast as you can. Just going out there just to have fun, right? And but yeah, I just hadn't had to.
Oh,
Right? Yeah, I need it. So
you gotta
yeah,
come out.
I will. Absolutely, I will. It's been too long. I've had a lot of opportunity to fly out to California and do track days with my buddy Dustin Cornier, which I will, Dustin. I'm gonna take you up on that again. It's the time and all that good stuff. But anyway, so you come back, get with Dale, you get on a 400, right? Was that your first 400?
Yeah, so that was my first time alone on a road race bike. And I went out and I didn't even know how to downshift or use the front brakes or anything.
Because I don't have any in my sport. What are you talking about, front brake?
I'm like sliding it in with the rear brake. No, I'm kidding. I was going pretty slow. I was definitely pulling in the clutch around the turns at the beginning, just rolling it. And then my clutch or my shifter actually fell off like my second lap in. And so it was a mess. It was crazy. I had to pull the bike in and they thought I crashed because they couldn't see me. And I was trying to reach for my phone. I actually tipped the bike over and they came back and I got back out. And then I went about 5 more laps, I think, and then just went rolling through the grass. So I was going pretty good though before then. It was a lot of fun. I was getting pretty fast. I was passing people,
You're like, I'm getting the hang of this.
Yeah, exactly. But then I just tried to follow an instructor a little too fast and just went through the grass in the last turn coming onto the front straight.
Yeah, and it's wide open back there too, right? The tracks. It's not as wide as people imagine it is.
It feels like it is.
It does, but it's
it's
not. Especially when you're going at speed, you're like, oh, I don't have a whole lot of room right here, right? Yeah,
exactly.
So
breaks.
Facts, right? So let me ask you this, Sonya. Was that your biggest difficulty learning how to ride a road race bike? Was applying the front brake?
Actually, I think it's downshifting. Like I still kind of struggle doing those quick downshifts. It's definitely a timing thing, a little bit of an art. So yeah, the front brake, you just grab it.
Yeah,
Not
right.
too hard, but like enough, But yeah, downshifting is definitely a little weird.
And obviously you do the 1 up 5 down race pattern shift. Yeah, absolutely. Well, some racers prefer the normal pattern.
Yeah, and that's what's weird going back to flat track is it's always backwards. So you always have to think about it.
Yourself. Or put a piece of tape on the handlebars or something. You can just glance down and see back, okay, yeah, there it is. I remember. 1 down, 5 up, not 1 up, 5 down, right? Because I've been guilty of that. I bought an RC51 and it had normal shifting on it, right? And I took it out and actually stalled it and locked up the rear wheel and almost laid it down looking like a buffoon fool because I'm so used to the race pattern shifting that it just totally caught me off guard, right? Yeah, it was I didn't end up looking like, I didn't end up going down, thank God, right? But yeah, it was yeah.
That's scary.
So yeah, so I immediately, ordered the thing so I could reverse shift it. Yeah, big.
You always have to ask nowadays. Make sure
you do, right? Absolutely. Or they'll have it on the tank, right? Or triples or somewhere that reverse shift, blah blah blah. So going from being with Dale, is Dale something you still train with? Do you still ride with Dale to this day?
After that first VIR experience, we went to Roebling Road a few months later. And after that, Dale's gone car racing. He's kind of, he's been an absentee father a little bit. I call him every once in a while. He'll call me, give me some tips. But yeah, he's getting really into car racing and he's doing pretty well in ARCA. So I think he's a little preoccupied right now. So it's okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Stepdaddy. I only talk to him once a month, maybe, but yeah, he comes around every once in a while. But yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Going from Dale, what was your first proper season? Is this your first proper season? This season, 2024?
I would say last season. So right after we went to Roebling Road, I applied for BTR again, and I ended up getting in. I know I was really excited. It's a nice way to kind of meet people in Moto America and kind of get into the sport a little more, and make some girlfriends, which was awesome too. So I did that last season. So that was my first full season. Yep.
That's awesome. I have friends that obviously raced in the BTR category. And so tell us your journey in BTR, your experiences, because they deliver the bike to you and you actually work on the bike yourself and you do all the prep work and the oil changes and take the tires and get them serviced at Dunlop, put the Moto America proper stickers on the back, the front, and yeah, I know the routine, obviously, yeah. So tell us about that whole experience, because it's a great program. It's good for you to learn how to work on the bike, race, learn the race craft, right, and what it takes to build a race bike, and the journey and the friendships you made for a lifetime along the way, right? So let's hear it, Sonya. I can't wait to hear this story.
Yeah, it was really amazing. They did it a little bit differently last year. So they had all of us fly out to Texas and we built the bikes there together, which was kind of nice because we had a little bit more structure. You really knew what you were supposed to do. And we did build all the bikes ourselves. The mechanics didn't really touch it. They'd help hold something if we needed it. But that was really cool. So I learned a ton. I'd say about half the girls had worked on motorcycles before and half of them hadn't. So we were all kind of helping each other. And then we went training there once we were done. And I actually finished building my motorcycle on my birthday, my 21st birthday. And I got into graduate school that day. So it was this crazy, awesome experience in Texas. And then we went and we trained. And Freddie Spencer was there, which was really cool. And he gave us this whole crash course and was out there telling us what to do. I was super slow the first day. That was like my 7th day on a road race bike. And then the second day we did mock races. And I ended up getting the whole shot in both of them and then finishing second to Michaela. And everybody was like, whoa, Sonya, you've got this like red haze when you put your shield down, you get ready. And I was like, yeah, it's the flat tracker. Once the flag goes, you're just win or crash,
That's it. Win it or bin it.
Yep. So that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, the whole experience, just working on your bike at the track and, yeah, doing all the wheels and changing your own gearing. And, we had to adjust our own valves and everything. It was really cool. I feel a lot more confident going to the track now, knowing I can do everything myself if I have to, and being able to help out my crew this year too when they want it. Normally they're like, no, don't touch anything.
You're like, nah, I got this, right? I have the 10 millimeter. Yeah, I have the 10. You guys don't. It's me. I got it, right? Yeah. So that absolutely amazing experience. I know it was an amazing experience, right? So tell us, how did that season going into 2023 with BTR? Did you have any expectations on yourself, or did you just like, you know what, I'm gonna approach this and just have fun with it and try to live in the moment every time I can?
Yeah.
And see where I end up.
That's pretty much what happened. A lot of what I've been doing here has just kind of been like, well, we'll see. We have no idea what's going to happen. I think after that first training, I was like, okay, we might need to go for this, if it's going to be, possible to win. So into race 1, I was not putting a lot of pressure on it. And then I ended up battling for second place. And I was like, okay, we're gonna crush it this season. So I definitely did take it pretty seriously throughout the season. I wanted to do well in the points, and Michaela was killing it. So I ended up finishing second in the championship, which I was super happy about. I mean, there was some tough competition out there. So it was, yeah, every experience was new and awesome.
That's absolutely you did an amazing job last season. I love watching that class in that category. It's awesome. You know, I wish that they would do that with boys too, or just not just having an all girl female event, which I think is absolutely amazing. Just have it girls and boys, right? Because it's a good
Mhm.
way for, like you said. Now I'm confident on working on a bike, whatever bike I get. You know, I've done this before. And I know I can do it. I know the racecraft. I know how to take the tires at Dunlop. I know how to do the tire warmers, the gearing changes. You know, I asked the suspension guys to help me out. So a little bit, because that's a whole nother area when it comes to suspension, right? I just do a couple clickers, bouncing them down. Okay, we're good. Let's go try that, right? Yeah, that feels pretty good, right? Yeah, yeah. You're laughing because you probably did that.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I asked a lot of questions about suspension. I was quite
Absolutely.
confused. Yeah.
It, it's such an art form, and it's tricky. Like I'm just like, you know, when you explain it to me, just keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. And if I'm you see me struggling, then you know if you want to, I could couple bucks come help me out, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah. Megan at Olin's, she was super helpful. She'd come over, explain to us what we needed to know. And yeah, she was great. But
that's
I think it'd
awesome.
be cool if they did it with, younger kids
Yep.
because they're the future of the sport. It'd be awesome.
You're the future of the sport too, as well, right? But yes, it would. I think it would benefit. You know, so you know, did you so racing at BTR, was it something like you had to come up with a certain amount of money to enter the program, or how did all that work?
No, so they wanted it to be totally inclusive. So there was no money up front. They really paid for everything. It was a factory ride. It was incredible. Yeah. It was, I mean, nobody gets that kind of ride anymore. So it's cool, like growing up in the professional racing world, I've seen how much people struggle with that and how few people get that experience. So that was really what I was trying to enjoy the most, was just being a factory rider. That was really cool.
That's absolutely. I didn't even know that, but yeah, that's amazing. You're right. That's full factory right there. They paid for everything, right? So at the beginning, I'm just asking. So, BTR, you got all you girls built your built your weapons, right, of choice. They're all the same bike,
Hmm.
right? And what bikes are they again?
They're the GT 650
Yep,
Royal Enfields.
yep. And it's air cooled.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
So, did they have a schedule to be like, okay, you need to change the oil, you know, between
Every
these
race weekend.
weekends? Okay, okay. Did they,
Yep.
they broke it all down to you? Say, hey, you need to do your tires at this time, or was that all that kind of like, I feel like I need a new set of tires, or was that all scheduled for you too?
So they told us how many tires we'd get for the weekend, and then we could kind of decide when we wanted to do that. And then Dunlop has certain times when you can go get that done. But
Yeah,
it was pretty left up to us and what we wanted to do. So, but it was nice. Like we had new tires for the races for sure. And yeah, it was great.
and 2023 went by like this, right? You look back on it now, you're like, man, I had so much fun, but where'd all the time go?
Yeah, the 4 weekends just flew by. The last one was sad.
Uh, yeah, yeah. So it's not something so is that something when you've been in BTR, can you reapply and do it again the following season, or is it just a one time done deal?
So they just decided that it's going to be a 2-year program. So you do your first year and you kind of get into it, and then your second year is like your graduate year. So I was invited back this year, but I did get this super cool ride that I just couldn't turn down. So yeah. So I let somebody else take my spot, let a new girl experience it, and I can't wait to see them. They're all going to be at Barber, so I'll meet the new girls and give them any tips if I can about the bike. But yeah, so it is a 2-year program now.
Of it. That's absolutely amazing. So, which brings us to 2024 and your new ride. Tell us, Sonya, how did all this come about? That's it.
So Chuck Giacchetto lives about 40 minutes from me here in Georgia. And at the beginning of the BTR season, I had this big box of supplies that I needed to get up to Road America for our first race. And so we called him up and I was like, hey, like, do you have any room? Maybe help a racer out, you know? And he was super cool. I met him. He brought my box up. And throughout the season, I was just, you know, chit-chatting with him, hitting it off. Got to meet a lot of the Westby team and, you know, just trying to be talkative. I made a lot of friends that season. And it was really fun networking. And then near the end of the season, he really wanted to run his own team again because he'd kind of been in charge of Team ESO with Dominic Doyle, but had handed off a lot of that responsibility. So he wanted to start an R3 team, but then I think Yamaha just had more of a need for an R7 team and to kind of turn Team ESO into something a little bit bigger. So Chuck got the deal to do a 2-rider R7 team. And yeah. And with Kayla Yakov kind of moving on to Ducati, there was a little bit of a budget hole there, you know, and I wouldn't say a need for a female racer, but there was definitely that, you know, it was lacking that for sure. So
For sure.
He pitched them my story and how it could be a really cool come up story, and there'd be a lot of progression throughout the year since I'm so new, and they loved it. And Tom Halverson has been amazing, and I've met all of them now, and yeah, they're super cool and very supportive. So
I'm super excited for you. Absolutely amazing. And your teammate is none other than the absolute legend himself, Dominic Doyle.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
right?
He's amazing. He's really cool. He's helped me a ton with so much. So yeah.
Absolutely he is. Yes, dude. I need to get Dominic Doyle on the podcast. So Dom, if you listen to this, you need to come on. He gave me his number, but I text racers, right? This is one thing I've learned about racers. They'll give you your number and you text them, and you might not hear from them for about 3 months. Yeah, I know. I get it. I'm not the type of guy. And they're like, when I see him, I'm like, dude, he's like, yeah, man, just bug me. I don't like the bugs. Then I feel like I'm pestering you, right? I don't want to pester you. But sometimes I think I'm gonna have to start doing that. Just to be honest. Yeah, I'm just gonna be like, look, dude, look, bro, this week, next week, let's do it, right? Yeah, every week, just hit him up. But yeah,
I'll put the bug in his ear. I'll start talking to him about it.
Love to get Dominic on. He had a great weekend. Race 2-1.
Race 2. Yeah, yes. He won that one. Yeah. Absolutely. That was a great day for our team.
Yeah, it was. So let me ask you this, Sonya. You know, the way you prepared for a race in flat tracking, is it the same mentality in the way you prepare for a road race?
Honestly, it's so different. Like for flat track, there's a lot more, you know, hyping yourself up, kind of getting into that more aggressive mindset and just letting loose. And then I think for road racing, I really have to calm myself down a few days before and really study and like learn the track and learn the shift points and the markers and figure out what I want my strategy to be. So it's a lot more, you know, calm music versus like screamo.
Right. Now it makes sense. And you know, a lot of these tracks, obviously, since you're new to it, has been your first time at the track. So what is the best way Sonya Lloyd adapts to the track, and how do you learn it?
Last year was just kind of a YOLO. Like
I love it, dude. Just wing it. Let's just show up and do it.
If it looks like it's going left, we go left, you know? It was kind of nice because for most of the girls, they were new tracks. So it wasn't like you were really starting from too far behind. Obviously, watching old races and stuff, you'd kind of figure out what goes where. But this year, you know, I'm getting really serious about it. And I'm watching a lot of old Twins Cup races. And I bought one of these like race car driver wheels and the iRacing program. So Daytona, I was just on my computer, like, you know, learning the track, and that was super helpful. I went out and, you know, knew the track. I'd driven it hundreds of times. So, yeah, so that's kind of how I've been learning now, is just doing the simulator.
That's awesome. That's something I got a bunch of friends that do the same thing, right? They all iRace and simulator, and a lot of them play a Skoda. I think that's how you say it. They play that one a lot too. So the sim, you can learn a lot. And it's they tell me from what they tell me, it's actually pretty close to how that track actually is with the
Oh yeah.
bumps and all that good stuff. That's it. That's absolutely awesome. I
Yeah.
race. I love it. So, Sonya, what's your favorite track so far?
I love Pittsburgh. I've been there twice now, and I absolutely love it. It just flows so nicely. I feel like I'm pretty good at it, and the chicane's fun. So I really like Pittsburgh.
That's
But I
awesome.
think I'm gonna really like Coda. I'm excited to try that one.
Have you never been to Coda? Oh, it's you see tracks on TV and you're like, man, I want to go, and it kind of looks hilly or whatever. But then when you actually get there, just like you in Daytona, right? You look up, you're like, holy shit, that's the banking. Are you kidding me right now? Like I'm gonna ride on this. Let's go, right? Let's get it. Same thing at Coda, right? Coda's turn one. I mean, going up the front straight and going up to turn one, it's a nice hill. And then once you get on the top of it, obviously it goes left, but it actually bottlenecks down a little bit, and then it's a pretty drop down to the right, and then you get the whole the little S's and go up, come back down. Yeah, you're gonna love it. Absolutely gonna love it. Have you been practicing?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What's your favorite part of Coda so far?
I think turn one. I think that's pretty fun.
Awesome.
Just
It is.
on the brakes and then going. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. So, what's your favorite car in iRacing?
I couldn't even tell you what I use. To be honest, I picked a car with the most vision. A lot of them you can't really see past here, and yeah, I wish I knew more about cars, but I'm not too knowledgeable.
No, it's good. I love it. That's awesome. She's like, I don't know. I just beat everybody when I do it, so I'm winning. So yeah, it's good.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you, Sonya, prepare mentally and physically for a road race? Right? Is there a certain ritual you do, like left boot on before your right boot, a certain type of music?
I'm not too superstitious. I try not to get into those habits, wearing the same socks or anything, because eventually you're gonna have to change your socks. So
right.
I think just if I'm feel prepared, I've got Zwift, I've got an indoor cycle on the kicker. So I do a lot of training, I do a lot of running, a lot of Pilates, which has really helped with like body control, so I think if I just feel like physically prepared and mentally prepared from studying the tracks, then I'm set for the whole weekend. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's that which I was going to ask you what you did for training, but you basically answered my question before I asked it. Right there it is. Right, Pilates and running. And so you running? Are you a long distance runner, or are you just like a 20-mile a day or a 10-mile a day, or?
Well, I did my first half marathon last year, which was pretty fun. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yes, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks. I don't know if I'll be doing another. I like 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
That's my long run, But
yeah, it's still a run.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't go too crazy.
That's awesome. So, do you have any big expectations on yourself this season at all? Or are you just gonna face it like you did all your other seasons?
Well, kind of like last season, after the first race, I got some points. I finished 12th in both races at Daytona. So after that, my team was like, all right, our goal is not just to qualify now. Like, let's get some points. Let's see what we can do. So I definitely, my goal is to get points in every race now. I think I'm like 14th right now in the points championship. So if I can do a little better than that, I think that'd be awesome. But I think by the end of the year, I just definitely want to be getting top 10s would be right now the goal.
Yeah.
If not winning, I mean.
I don't see why you couldn't do it at all, for real. You have the talent and the skill, and obviously there's a lot of people out there that believe in you, right? And I hope you believe in yourself as much as everybody else believes in you, Sonya.
It's hard. People are super nice.
Right. Right. I know sometimes you're like, why me? Like, what do I do to deserve this? Right. But you got to work even harder. You got to show them you really want it. You got to go out there and just eat and preparing for battle. The Battle of Thermopylae with the Spartans. I always talk about that. It's one of my favorite things back in the day, right? As Greek mythology and the Egyptians and all that cool stuff. But yeah, that's how I see road racing is the Spartans versus the Persians, right? Except for you're just one person, versus one Spartan versus 28 Persians or however many is that on the track with you, right? Yeah, it's awesome. So you don't listen to any type of music right before you got on track, or you just sit there nice and calm and just.
If I am getting kind of stressed, sometimes I listen to like Spanish club music.
I love it. I love
But
it.
usually I do pretty well before the races, so I like chit chatting with people. The officials walk by, say hi, and
Yeah.
so I like being social before. But I used to definitely listen to more music last year. There was a lot of people under the tent. You kind of had to lock in a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. So let me tell you, what is your major strength in road racing? What would you think about yourself? Your greatest strength, braking.
Um, I don't have much of a survival instinct, I think. So like getting to the gas, pinning the gas, I think that's my greatest strength.
I
Like
love
at
it.
Daytona, just as soon as I was on the gas, I was getting up and I was staying pinned. Like, I don't know. Like I really enjoy the speed, and I think that would be probably my greatest is coming out of corners, just
That's
getting to the
awesome.
gas.
That
But
ain't nothing like it when you get it perfect and just right. It's like this is the best fit. It almost happens like it's in slow motion,
yeah.
correct?
Oh yeah,
It
it doesn't
really does. No,
fast.
you're like you look down. Well, you don't see how fast you're going, but normally you're like I'm hauling ass through here, right? But when you hit it just perfect, it's like when you're taking slow mo video on your phone and go back and rewatch it. It's fast, and all of a sudden it's just that do do do
Oh
do do
yeah.
do do, and speeds back up. And you're like, that was cool.
Oh yeah. I think I had the second fastest trap speed at Daytona because it was just as long as you can. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. This is good stuff. So we have a buddy of mine all the way from the UK, Chris Lewis. He says, "Always believe, Sonya." What's going on, Chris? So listen, we're almost 50 minutes in this. It's been an absolute honor. Uh, you are going to absolutely kill it this year. I can't wait to watch it. I'm a fan. I'm gonna be cheering for you. I will be at Jersey, so I'll see you there again in
Okay,
Jersey.
cool.
We will do. You guys stay tuned because me and Sonya will be back for part two and part three and all that good stuff. But I want to get away from motorcycles. Your journey has been absolutely amazing. I love to hear uh, people that's not really grown up in the sport, well, has, but not really rode or train and just get into it and look where you are, right? There's a lot of people around the world that would, again, do anything to be where you are, right? So that just tells volumes of who you are as a person. And not only that, the legend and the speed you have in your future, right? Ahead of you. So, which is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see you get that W, right. Kick all them boys' ass. Let's go, Sonya.
Coming soon.
I know it is. I know it is. So listen, I want to get into my favorite part of the interview where we get to know Sonya on a personal level, right? So I want to start it off with this. Tell us something we don't know about you.
Well, I sleep with my socks on. I have to. I get so cold. I don't think many people know that. That's probably my weirdest thing, I hope.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. And listen, so we got Kamisha Moore. What is going on? She says, wishing you an amazing season, Sonya Lloyd. We're so proud of you. We'll see you at Barber.
Thank you, Miss Moore. She's awesome.
Absolutely. They
She
are absolutely amazing. I met them in Jersey last year, her and all of them. Hugs, and it was just pictures. It was absolutely brilliant, amazing. They are, yeah. Everybody, when you go to the track, stop by and say hi because they are just brilliant people.
They're amazing. Michaela's going to kill it this year. I can't wait.
Listen, Michaela is an absolute alien for sure. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's an absolute
She does
legend.
not mess up.
No, she's man. Listen, this is how I see it. Like when it comes to men and women racing, I feel like when I watch men ride, we look like we have to try to ride, where a woman is more fluid on a bike naturally, if that makes sense, right?
Mhm.
And it's just, yeah, you guys are just absolute legends. And yeah, absolutely. So listen, let me ask you this. What is your worst habit?
My worst habit. Oof, that's tough. I don't know. I eat Oreos. I will say that Oreos. I don't know if that's a habit, but I do always have to have some Oreos in the house. So
Oreos. That's your favorite Oreo. Is it double stuffed or the
double
thin
stuffed.
or the yeah,
Oh
like
yeah, just
with
regular double stuffed.
almond milk, soy milk.
Just regular milk. You know, 2%.
Yeah. I'm not, you know what? I don't drink milk. I'm not
Really?
that's something nobody knows about me. Right there, I said I do not drink milk.
Hmm,
The only time I drink milk is if I'm eating cereal. That's it. I'm
wow.
just not a milk drinker. Like I cook with it when I need to cook with it or whatever, but I don't know. I just never been a milk drinker at all.
I love milk.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do. My son's best friend Cam, he lives down the street. Every time he comes over and stay the night, I get him a big box of the Kraft macaroni and cheese. For 11 years old, he can eat the whole box, which I shouldn't really be surprised, right? And then like 12 chicken nuggets on top of it. But I get him his own at least half gallon of milk. I got to, because if not, he's gonna drink all our milk. So I go there and I'm like, all right, Cam, this is you. I even write it. This is yours right here. This is all your milk. So this is you.
That's
Have
so
at it. It is, right? Yeah, it's absolutely
build
awesome.
strong bones.
It does. That's what I hear. I just don't like it, right? So, all right. So let me ask you this: if you could invite any three people in the world to a track day, what three people would it be? And it could be anybody, like from MotoGP riders to your boyfriend to whoever, right? So, what three people are you bringing?
Oof. Okay, well, definitely Valentino Rossi because I gotta meet him someday. So cool. Man, I'd probably bring my dad. You know, he hasn't been on a road racer in a long time, so I want to get him out there. Um, hmm. I mean, the only other road racer I've really met that's like at that level would be Jack Miller, and he was super cool. So I'd love to hang out with him some more. I'd bring him too.
Listen, Jackass, absolutely proper mega. I've met Jack a bunch of times. Brad Bender, they're some of my favorites. Bajorn, he's personal. Brad Bender's personal. He's a guy that you always see with Bender. He's absolutely amazing to know him. It's I love going to MotoGP races because I do have a couple people that I do know, right? And when you meet a high profile is what I call them, like the top of the line sport racer, right? You automatically have certain expectations by the way you view them on TV, by the way they interact with other people. That what builds up this expectation when you go to meet somebody, and sometimes it's not always the best result, right? But
Yeah.
with Jack Miller, it's absolutely, I don't care who it is. As soon as he comes out and you holler his name, he stops, takes pictures and autographs, the whole nine for kids, adults, grannies and canes and walkers, all that stuff, right? Except when it's go time, right? Then it's straight in and straight out, blah 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 blah. But Jack is absolutely amazing, and
He's so
Valentino,
cool.
right? I mean, Rossi's the goat. He's I named my son Hayden Rossi after Nicky Hayden and Valentino Rossi, right? So,
Oh wow.
uh, yeah, we call him Rossi. His first name's Hayden. We do when I'm irritated, I call him Hayden, and then he knows he's a little bit in trouble then, right? But yeah, it's I've had the honor and to meet. Well, how do I begin? I met a lot of the MotoGP guys, past and present, all of them to this day. Juvenile, Max Biaggi, Valentino Rossi, numerous. I got so many pictures, helmets like Rossi helmets signed by him, gloves. I got this whole memorabilia in my other room, minus this room right here too, because a lot of this stuff signed up on the walls. You
I
can
know we were
tell.
talking about that earlier.
Right. Like I'm you could tell I'm just a little bit infatuated, right? Just a little bit, right? But yeah, it's I've had the honor to meet all these guys. The only two times that I met somebody that didn't go as well was Jorge Lorenzo and Casey Stoner.
Hmm.
I flat out asked Casey Stoner to sign my poster. He flat out looked at me and said no, right? And I was like, you gotta be shitting me right now, right? So I hand my poster to my brother, the girl he was dating at the time. I said, will you try to go get that signed? She walked straight up to him. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, well, that's some bullshit, right? But hey, whatever. He's an absolute legend, right? It happens, right? Not saying he's an asshole, but that's just my personal experience. The one and only time I actually got to meet him. And then Jorge Lorenzo, I was at Indy, and he went to the medical center, and he was pulling up, and I was like, man, I really want to get a picture with Jorge, with his, I guess his manager, his best friend, or whoever it was on the back of the scooter. He's like, but you got a Valentino Rossi shirt and hat on, right? And I was like, oh shit, I got to come up with something quick if I want to get this picture. And I was like, you know what? This is my first time here. My dad's a big Rossi fan, so he bought me the hat and the shirt. I can't tell him I really like Lorenzo because he'd be mad at me, right? So I really want to get a picture with him. He's like, yeah, absolutely. You just got to take off the hat and the shirt. And I was like, okay. I had a wife beater on, so I was like, okay, let's do it, right? So I took off my Rossi hat and my shirt just to get a picture with Jorge Lorenzo. So yeah. And then I met Chris Vermeulen, right, which was like probably the coolest racer I've ever met. And I walk up to him, I was like, Chris Vermeulen, dude, I'm a huge fan, blah, blah. You know what he says? It turns out he says, well, at least I have one fan here. And I was like, what, are you kidding me right now? Like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we get in this whole in-depth conversation, and it was just like, it was one of those moments where it just kind of blows your mind, right? So yeah, good
That's
stuff.
crazy. Wow,
It
so
is.
don't wear anybody's shirts to these things so you can take pictures with everybody.
So that's one thing that, yeah, I learned. I'm like, dude, don't wear, just wear whatever, t-shirt, Alpine Star, whatever it is. Just don't wear, a Rossi shirt if you want to go get a picture with Lorenzo or Mark Marquez, right? Which, listen, I met Mark Marquez for the first time. Of course, I could have met him numerous times. I'm a big Rossi fan, so when that rivalry happens, of course, forget Lorenzo, forget Mark Marquez, right? I mean, come on, this is why we do it, so involved, right? But I found myself once Rossi retired, Sonya, that I'm not like that no more. I like everybody and I respect everybody, and what Mark has done with the injuries he's had and the setbacks and how determined he still is and how good he is. I absolutely have respect for the man. So absolutely. Yeah. So
I'd love to meet him someday.
I got him. He signed my
oh wow.
He signed my freaking paddock pass.
What?
I was like, yes, I was so stoked. I was like, Marquez, you saw my paddock pass? He's like, yep, right here. Well, hang on. You know what? It's too much stuff, but if you can see it, this is it in my hand right here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. So, yeah.
That is definitely on my bucket list as well. I gotta meet him.
You know what's on my bucket list is the Isle of Man TT.
Going to it or riding it?
Of course, I'm not going to ride. Yeah, I'd love to ride it, not professionally. Of course, I would love to, but I want to go. Yes, who don't? To me, that's my favorite race of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's pretty crazy. I mean,
have you been?
No, I've never been, but I watched it.
Would you ride the Isle of Man TT?
That's probably the one thing I would never race. I don't know. That's the walls are pretty close, cobblestone.
Just a little. I mean, just a little, right? Yeah, but I absolutely love the TT. So let me ask you this, Sonya. If Sonya had her own island and you could only have one racetrack in the world on this island, what track would it be?
Oh, it would be the Springfield Mile. I'd have a really big, nice flat track.
Huge. Maybe 3 miles.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd have some nice bikes, and I'd just be able to run the mile the whole time.
I love it. So what's your favorite movie?
Ooh, I'm a big movie person, so that's a tough question. I don't know what my favorite would be, but right now, the one that I kind of have been watching for some inspiration is Eddie the Eagle. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's about the ski jumper, Eddie Edwards or whatever his name is, but it's a very inspiring movie.
What's it on?
Apple TV, maybe.
Apple TV. Yeah. So I watched Masters of the Air. Man, that was one of the best series I've seen. You got to check that out. That's on Apple TV
I haven't
too as
seen that.
well. Yes, it's really good. You definitely got to check it out. So I'm big into books. I love audiobooks. I used to read all the time. Of course, I find myself falling asleep now when I really start to read, even though I'm really into it. It's just bam. But the book that I am currently reading right now is big shout out to my man Andy Ibbott. He actually sent me his
Oh
MotoGP
wow.
performance and riding techniques, which is just an absolutely amazing book. But I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So is that something you do too? Do you like books, or what are you reading or listening to?
I'm not a big reader. Not anymore. I used to read a lot, but I have been reading a lot of like motorcycle electronics books, trying to figure all that stuff out so I can kind of, talk about it a little better.
Right.
But just textbooks. I'm in college right now, so just do a lot of studying, so not much time for fun reading.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so speaking of that, what are you going to school for?
So I'm actually graduating next week with my undergraduate.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's in biological engineering, so
Nice.
pretty excited to be done with that.
Yeah,
But I'll be
absolutely.
staying one more year to finish my master's in business, and then I'll be done. So
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right. So not a big reader except for school books right now. But I'm sure in the future it's something you will pick up. I got a couple good books on audio, but when you're ready, I'll give you the recommendations. They're really good. Motivational racers. Like I listen to basically a lot of books, to be honest with you.
I
It's
like podcasts,
okay. That was my next question. So what podcast do you listen to?
So when I was first trying to figure out what road racing was, I would just listen to all of the Ken Hill podcast. So he's kind of like my idol, and I've been trying to find him at some of the Moto America races, but I haven't met him yet. But I want to give him like all the credit for like my mindset and everything when I'm racing. But I also I don't know, like James Rispoli's podcast. That's
Yep.
really good.
Yep.
Um,
I listen to that. I
yeah,
listen to Ken Hill. Big shout out to Ken Hill. Big shout out to James and Corey Alexander
yeah,
on Pipe Dreams podcast because that's what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I listen to it. Yep, good.
That
It's
was
good
really cool.
podcast, man. Absolutely.
Your
I listen.
podcast.
An absolute honor. Thank you so much. I listen to the same podcast. Basically, you just mentioned all of them guys. Brothers in Christ. Every once in a while. I listen to Moto PG. Big shout out to them. They're my boys out there in Australia. I've actually had all three of them on our podcast.
Wow.
They're brilliant. You need to go give them a listen. Moto PG, not GP PG. There's three of them: Boris, Tugs, and Fredo. You're gonna absolutely laugh your ass off because they are hilarious. Yes. Yep, Moto PG. Yeah, and of course, yeah. So every once in a while, I listen to my own podcast, and that's something I haven't told anybody neither. I don't know why I'm confessing this stuff with Sonya on here. I guess she makes me feel comfortable. So yeah, I listen to my own podcast too sometimes. So,
We got to know a lot of neat people on here.
yeah, I appreciate it. It's something that if you would have told me I'd have been doing this 2 years ago, I'd have laughed. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I enjoy listening to them, but it's not something that yeah, I want to do. And then I actually got invited to come on as a first guest, and then we did just race reviews, and then the whole interview started to happen, and it's been an absolute honor to be able to do this for sure. So it's yeah. But anyway, music. Sonya, what kind of music do you listen to?
Oh, I listen to all the kinds of music. I love it
Me
all.
too. I love it.
Country, pop, hip hop, old classic music. Yeah, classic rock's a big one.
Yeah.
My favorite song is Danza Kuduro. I know nobody thinks they know it, but once they hear it, they know it. It's like the Fast and Furious Spanish song.
Yep.
That's really good.
Yep.
That's probably what I listen to the most.
I listen to a lot of Spanish music too, and people, well, my old job before they closed down, I'd be playing it. They're like, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "I don't know who they are, but I just like the vibe and the music, right?" So I'm just listening to it, and I love Frank Sinatra.
Oh yeah,
so Frank's my dude right there. I love some Frank Sinatra.
My Way. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, dude, and let's see. I could sit here and just talk about Frank, but yeah, My Way is really good. Is it 21? I have to look on my phone. Keith Kelly, what is up, my man? And Andrew Davis said, "Say Taylor Swift." Are you a Swiftie?
I very much so respect Taylor Swift. She has built an empire. I'm definitely an early Taylor Swift music fan for sure. Just listened to her new album. It's pretty good. Pretty good. But
There
yeah,
you go.
I'm a
Yeah,
Swiftie. I
that's
love
awesome. I love it. All right, so who's your favorite comedian?
I don't really watch comedians. I don't know.
No stand up.
Not really. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't gotten any good recommendations yet, so I haven't really checked them out.
Well, I have to give you some recommendations. I mean, yeah, it's there's a lot of good ones out there. Of course, the old school, like I like a lot of the old school ones. But yeah, no. So my big shout out to my buddy BT. He's a comedian. I'll send you some links to him and check him out. He's absolutely funny. Which, by the way, I listen to his podcast too. He has two of them. One called Tales from a Gemini, where it's just him, and he interviews some racers and some other people too as well. And then he does one with his buddy Dion Curry. It's called Sorry We're Canceled, and them two just talk shit, cut it up. So it's absolutely funny, right? And they talk a lot of shit. When I mean they talk shit, they talk shit. So yeah, it's right. Yeah. Do you like Star Wars or Star Trek?
I'd say Star Trek.
Star Trek. Huh? I'm a Star Wars guy with Star Trek. Do you go? So, what character would you be in Star Trek?
Oh, definitely Scotty.
I like it. Sure. Yeah, right. Okay. Well, DC or Marvel?
Probably Marvel. Probably got one into that.
Yeah. I know that's right. So Two-Face, is that what you said?
Two-Face.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about. Was he in Marvel? Two-Face, the character?
Oh no, I have no idea.
Yeah, I like him. But anyway, favorite food, Sonya. I like to cook. I get it from my mom, right? What's your favorite food?
I love sushi, and that's kind of new, but
Is it really?
All the time. Oh yeah.
So what made you just try sushi for the first time?
I don't know. We never really ate it as a family, and then like 4 years ago, I moved out to college and started eating sushi, and I love it. So
I love sushi too. So I'll sit there. I eat my wife not so much. She's like, I'll try it. And she's like, she's kind of on the fence on it. And we got some the other day, and she's like, yeah, it's just not me. And I'm just like, it's so good, wasabi and soy sauce. Let's go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. Either that or Italian food.
Yeah,
I'll eat a nice lasagna or something.
So so you're is that your cooking specialty is lasagna?
I make a mean lasagna.
Do you? Nice. Do you use ricotta cheese or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, for sure. A lot of it.
So I like it. So do you make your own homemade marinade, or do you use jar marinara?
No, I use Rayo's.
Yeah, that's Rayo's. Big shout out to Rayo's. That's not nothing. I don't get paid for Rayo's, but it's really good. I love Rayo's too. So I also make so I'll do naan bread, and I'll take naan bread and Rayo's pizza sauce, like the margarita pizza sauce, and then I'll make homemade pizzas on naan bread with Rayo's. Yeah, it's so good, right? Lasagna, that's one thing that I have never made is lasagna, and I've made a lot of stuff. I have made a lasagna soup, so it's basically kind of like making lasagna, but I did make a lasagna soup. Yeah, I made a lasagna soup. You ain't never made a lasagna soup? No. I only did it once. I made it for my wife, and it was actually really good. Yeah, so I like in the winter times, like I use an app called Yumly. It's free. Another shout out, right? I'm not getting paid. But it's free, Sonya. You download the app, and basically anything you ever wanted to cook, you put it in, and it brings it up. And there's like all these reviews on it, right? So obviously you're going to go for the top 2 or 3, and you just click on it. It tells you all the ingredients, step by step, how to cook it. So it's foolproof. You can't mess it up, and it's free. So yes. So I be making all kinds of shit that I see because I love Thai food and Indian food. I'm like, I want to make tiki masala. I want to make, nam tok or whatever. And I'm like, how do I do that? I'm like, okay, I'll go down the Asian mark. It gives you the list of everything you need. It even brings it up in your area where you can shop for it at. It's crazy. Yes. It's called Yumly, and you're welcome. All
Man,
your listeners.
I always just Google it. I think of something I want to make and I Google it.
Yumly. That's absolutely where it's at.
Good to know.
Yes, it is. Yes,
My
it is.
grocery
So
bills are gonna be crazy this month.
yes, right. Do you cook a lot, or is it just something you just do every once in a while?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really eat out that much, so I pretty much cook everything. But
Yeah, I don't
often, I don't spend too much time doing it. So that's something I definitely like to do in the future.
Right.
A little more time.
I actually, when we get off here, I got some. I went out today and got at Earth Fair, which is because I'm real big on nutrition food. I used to be fat. I weighed like 260 pounds, was in a size 40 jeans. I'm in a 34 now, and I weigh 208. I just weighed myself. So
that's awesome.
And all completely just changing my diet, watch what I eat and all that good shit. But I love spicy food. So is that something you do too? Do you like spice, or you just like, nah, I prefer not?
I am a gringa. I don't really I'm not a huge spicy person. Like I'll eat it, but I won't make it spicy.
Yeah, I got you. Me, I'm like, more spice. Let's get it. Let's get it. Like the hot ones on YouTube. Do you watch the hot ones on YouTube?
No.
Okay, well, there's this show on YouTube. It's actually a genius show, Sonya. So what they do is this guy, he sits down and he interviews celebrities, musicians, actors, and all this, right? And there's 10 wings from the very mild to like 3 million plus Scoville. So he interviews you like me and you doing this interview, but me and you be eating from mild to super spicy wings. So
you should definitely start doing that on here.
Right. Okay. So next time, yeah, we have you on. We'll have to make that happen. I've always wanted to do it. Yeah, that'd be good stuff. That's a great idea.
We'll definitely have to do that next time.
Yeah, we will for sure. 100%. Good idea.
I'll get my glass of milk so that
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's and I also make my own homemade salad dressings. I'll send you some recipes for that too as well. Oh, wow. And that's also, listen, the recipes I'm gonna send you, I got them off of Yumly. Basically, you put in like, how do I make homemade ranch dressing? And you go out and buy real dill, and you buy, and you still use mayonnaise, but of course you use low fat and all that, but it's so much better. Like I make homemade Greek dressing, Italian dressing, you name it.
Wow.
It's so much better for you, and it's so good.
Wow. Yeah, I have 4 roommates right now, and 2 of them are pretty nice chefs, so our kitchen gets a little crowded, but I'll have to meal prep it, do it at a weird time. And
the salad dressing, it's just a couple of ingredients. It literally takes you 4 minutes at max to make it. It's super simple. But yeah, I'll send you all that stuff. But listen, this is a question I ask everybody because everybody's got one, right? What is your celebrity crush? Who is your celebrity crush, Sonya?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Really? Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise. I don't know. Just every character he's been, I would love to be. That'd be crazy. Yeah.
So my favorite movie is Top Gun because that's what my dad did. Me growing up, he was a fighter pilot in the Navy.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, I love Top Gun. That movie's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
The new one's awesome too.
I was so afraid that they were gonna fuck it up. God, I'm so glad that they didn't. Right? I mean, let's just be honest, because usually when they come out with a sequel, you're like, please don't mess it up. And they just really just destroy it. You're like, what are you doing?
Man, when that one came out, I was so excited to see it, but I was in Spain, so I had to watch it in Spanish the first time. And I was so upset because the voices were different, It wasn't like, I mean, they had subtitles, but, I could understand Spanish, but it was just, it was so good though, even with the Spanish voices.
Absolutely. So what advice, let me ask you this, what's the best advice you've got so far on road racing?
The best advice? Probably just, I know it's cliche, but just have fun. Like, only do it if you're having fun.
That's it.
And yeah, like if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Facts.
It's a tough career. It's a tough life. And, you do it for fun.
Listen, first and foremost, if you're not having fun, then why are you there doing it, right? So
Yeah.
absolutely. So series. Is there any series you're watching on like Netflix or Hulu you can recommend to anybody right now?
I just finished Grey's Anatomy, so I'm looking for a new series right now. But I feel like I could totally do surgery and save anybody's life right now. You know, any weird situation you get into, I know how to fix you. Don't worry.
Right. So me and my wife actually on Netflix, we just started Ozark, which is really
Okay.
good. That and then Breaking Bad. That's one of the I highly recommend Breaking Bad. It's like 5 or 6 seasons. It's one of the best series ever created, and I could actually see it happening in real. It probably happens in real life. I would bet my house it's happened in real life. Yeah, it's a crazy story.
Okay.
Basically, I'm not going to give it away, but basically, it's this physicist at school ends up with cancer, and in order to help pay for the chemo, because he don't have the money, since he knows how to make uh drugs, he makes the best meth in the world. And it goes like, you're like, I'm gonna watch one more episode, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, I can get up at 6 a.m. You know what, I'm gonna binge watch it, and I'm going to work. I can make this 36. I can do it. I'll come straight home, go to bed, right? Yeah, it's that type of
Oh yeah, I'm a big TV person, so I
yeah.
will. I will definitely get on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this, Sonya: is there any other sports that you're into at all? Like I watch soccer,
Yeah,
a little
I
bit
mean,
of
I played
F1.
soccer for a while, and that was a lot of fun. And then I did competitive cheerleading for a long time. So all like the flippadoos and stuff. You know, I was the one getting thrown in the air.
Tossed in the air, right?
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. But as far as watching, not really. Just racing. You know, supercross, flat track, road racing.
Right. So as far as road racing, do you watch obviously MotoGP, World Superbike? You watch World Superbike too?
Watch World Superbike. I don't know. I haven't gotten the subscription for that yet, but
I tell you,
essentially gonna be the
go
next.
ahead. Yeah. It's like $80, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I get it. I think it's $80. I do that one. I do MotoGP. Of course, Moto America.
Hmm.
And I do BSB. I highly recommend. Do you watch any British Superbike racing at all?
But I
You
should.
listen. You know what's awesome about it too? Not only are them people proper mega, and I love all of them. I got a lot of mates over there, but you can watch it for free, people. I keep telling everybody, Bennett's British Superbikes.com. There's a race this weekend. Tomorrow when you get up, go to Bennett's British Superbikes.com. Up in the top hand corner, it'll say live timing, or if it's actually live, it'll say live. You click on it, and guess what? Boom, you're in there straight up. And if it's not like they don't do live like practice and qualifying sessions, it's only during the race, right? But they have the TSL timing where you can click on it. It brings up the whole everybody out there: Superbike, Super Stock, GP2, 600, Super Sport, 400, whatever class that they're doing, Sonya. You can actually click on the commentary and you get to hear them live. And they talk about everybody. That's one thing I love about them. They talk about from the guy in dead last all the way up through the field. They give everybody a shout out, which is proper mega and amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the
So,
one thing that the sport's kind of missing is just the personal touch for sure.
110%. Like I'm not taking nothing away from what's our Moto America's series on YouTube. Damn it, I watch it all the time because
Oh,
it's good.
you mean the Pressure to Rise one?
Pressure. I was gonna say, me and you should know this off the top of our head, right? But every time I ask us, where I'm like, oh man, I forgot. Yeah, what is it? Yeah. So listen, it's really good, but man, they fall short on so many things. Not
Mhm.
not talking trash. I'm not, because it's really good, but you guys need to get the Junior Cup, the Super Sport, the Super Stock,
Yeah,
all those guys involved, the BTR crew. You need to go down through the field. Yes, it's going to take away from your precious super bike, the 4 and 5 teams, or 3, or whoever it is you mainly focus on. But to me, the future of the sport is not on TV. The guys that are always getting the airtime, they're on limited time,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? So, and then it's just going to fall back to the other replacement, right? And where they've already made it and got the house and the big contract, right? So listen to me, Moto America. Do everybody a favor and get everybody else involved too, right?
Or call up Netflix, get them to do a series.
Right. I mean,
Awesome.
yeah, it would so help this sport out so much.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It'd also bring in new sponsorship. It would help people just starting because it's super expensive. This sport really is, unless you're super fast and talented like Sonya and you get, the BTR and the ride you got now. And it costs so much money. It really does, and to have this TV time of all the up and coming kids and the new teams, and I think it'd be easier to get sponsorship because now it's out there, right? And they see the struggles, not just the wins.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it helped Formula One a ton.
Oh, absolutely it did.
So,
but
yeah.
Formula One, we're talking like billions of dollars in that sport. I hear him back there. Is he hungry?
Come here. He hears my roommates upstairs. And I close the door, and it's not normally closed. So he's
gotcha.
Wanting to go play.
He's like, I want to go say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: favorite racer, Sonya? Who's your favorite racer?
Oh, that's tough. That's a hard one.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
Yep.
So like idol racer or
it could be anybody, dead or alive, both. I want both. You ones that's not here with us anymore, and yeah, the one you
I mean,
right now. I know there's so many,
but I don't know. I wasn't really watching road racing during the Nikki Hayden kind of era, but I did meet him once because he rode my dad's flat tracker. It was his last time on a flat track, and he actually rode like 7 laps at Springfield on it, and it was really cool, and he was awesome.
Was that on a CRF 450?
No, it was like a 750 or 800 bigger bike.
PZ? Okay.
Yeah. Kind of bike framer, but he was fast. He would have qualified like 7th or something that night, but he wasn't racing. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think Marc Marquez is probably my favorite, just because he's such a hard worker and everything he's been through, and just how incredible he is. I definitely look up to him. But I don't know. I keep thinking like flat trackers because they're really cool and they're nonstop. They're pretty crazy. I really like Sammy Halbert. He just moved down to North Carolina now, so
you see my Sammy Halbert sign. Ain't my Brad Baker right there?
Oh yeah, Brad's awesome too. He got Rookie of the Year on my dad's team as well. So definitely know Brad. He's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah. I would love to get more flat trackers on here. Like I would love to get all these guys on here. Actually, I think I messaged Sammy already on Facebook. So yeah, by any chance, if you ever hear this, or message me back, please. I'd love to have you on. It's amazing sport. It really is. And it's something, it's a sport that don't get no recognition hardly at all. Right. So yeah, unfortunately, but yeah.
So cool. He came up just to chat with me once because now he's down south at the Southeast Flat Track kind of series stuff, and I felt badly because I kind of just clammed up because I was like, oh my god, this is Sammy Halbert talking to me, and I'm like about to go out anyway. But he's super cool. Definitely respect him. I love that he used to be the slammer and just.
That's awesome. I love it. So let me ask you this, Sonya. Last question. We're in this almost an hour and a half, which, dude, it's been a proper time, and I thank you so much. I just lost my voice right there, right? What's after racing, Sonya?
Like in the future, or like kind of right now?
In the future. No, and obviously you told us about your school, but it's once you really actually hit that legend status and you got a couple championships on your belt, and you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna hang up my leather. What's life after racing? Is it you want to stay in the sport, maybe do some coaching, own a team, work in a team, or are you gonna be out there on CSI Miami doing detective work?
Well, I think after I make it to Europe, and I'm killing it and whatever, just make a lot of connections over there. And I think it'd be really cool to get into the engineering side of things, and maybe not from the ground up, but doing a lot of the data stuff is really cool. And I've been working at Siemens Digital Industries, and they've got a lot of really cool technology that they use on Formula One teams right now, just all the data and stuff. And I think it'd be really cool to get into that and convert a lot of that to motorcycles. And I don't know, maybe work a little bit in MotoGP, kind of helping develop some of the, fluid dynamics stuff or something like that. Something engineering in motorcycles would be cool.
Yeah, that's absolutely. So you'd be behind the scenes, of course, but you'd be the one that's making. You see that right there? I did that. That's why he won that race today, right there. That's me, right? Yeah, right here. This one right here. Yeah. That's gonna be you, Sonya. Yeah, I can see that. That's awesome. Absolutely. Well, listen, this has been an absolute honor to have you on. I can't wait. You guys stay tuned for part 2 because this is going to continue on. But listen, before we get off here, Sonya, I need to by the way, that just reminded me, do you have a club? Because a lot of my race friends, what started it for me talking about it was when I go there to the UK and I started making all these friends and I started to have them on. They all have clubs and it's free to create and it's free to do, right? But it helps you out because it builds you a fan base. And so basically what it is, it'll be like my buddy Jake Marsh right here. I might as well just give him a shout out real quick, right? So big shout out to my man Jake Marsh over there in the UK. He races in British Superbikes in the GP2 class on a Triumph. He's an absolute up and coming legend. Watch him this season. Anyway, he has a club, Club 45, 50 slots, right, Sonya? So we'll have a Sonya club. Me and you've already talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I mean, you've already talked about this, right? So listen, we need to get you a club started. But anyway, Sonya, let everybody know how they can find you and follow you on social media and love and support and give you all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, sonya.b.lloyd, and I post throughout the race weekend. So definitely tune in, follow along. I've got a YouTube, Sonya Lloyd Racing, and a website. If you want to find my resume, it's on there too, engineering jobs. So that's just SonyaLloydRacing.com. So yeah, definitely give a follow, check it out, hit me up, anything.
That's absolutely brilliant. I love it. I love it. So yeah, guys, listen, guys and girls, absolute proper time. You guys go out there and go give her a follow, show her some love. And support her because everybody needs it because this sport is absolutely amazing and super expensive too. So please go show her some love. Go subscribe to all her YouTube, social media platforms. And before I end this, I got to give my shouts out to, I already did my one with Jake Marshall. Please go show him support, Club 45. My other buddy, Martin Adams at the Clothing King. Man, this glare right here on this window right here. I didn't realize I was going to glare like that. But anyway, the Clothing Kings, you can go to theclothingking.co.uk and order any Pendergast merch, jackets, T-shirts, whatever. It's all kinds of stuff. Man, there's so many shout-outs, man. Listen, another one, big shout-out to my man, Robert and Tasha Lackey at Bison. I say it all the time. If anybody's in the market for a leather suit, whether you're just a track day guy or just want one to be safe on the street, or you're a super proper legend fast rider, look no further than Bison. At least go check them out because they are the most amazing people. Sonya, have you met Robert and Tasha?
Oh, yeah. I'm Bison sponsored. I love them. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. They are amazing. I've crashed many times in my suit, and it has kept me very safe.
I'm telling you, I tell everybody, listen, Bison. So if anybody's out here that's listening to this, and go look them up. You will not be disappointed. Or get in touch with me, or you can get in touch with Sonya, and we'll point you in the right direction. Trust me, from the moment you meet them through the whole process, it's absolutely amazing. They're brilliant people. So yeah, listen, MotoGP, British Superbikes is this weekend. Again, go check them out. BSB, Bennett's British Superbike.com. It's free. But this has been an absolute honor. I have a podcast. I don't have one tomorrow. I have one Saturday with John Ludwig. He is the head guy over there at Bad Boy Racings with Avery the Lap Slayer Dreyer and his sister Ella Dreyer, right? Which is amazing to see her in Moto America. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I've had her on my podcast twice now already. She's she's Listen, you boys better watch out. That's all I'm saying. We got Ella and we got Sonya. It's yeah, just watch out.
Really good.
Right. But yes, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you guys as always. I love and appreciate everybody that watches the podcast, that likes and subscribes. If you haven't, please go do it. We're on everywhere but Apple. I'm not on Apple yet. This episode will be uploaded to Spotify, iHeart, Samsung, blah 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 blah. Right, all that good stuff. Tomorrow. And one last thing. Before I get off here, I just want to give a big shout out to my dog I just recently lost. I mean, I'm not gonna get all teary-eyed and all that stuff. I will afterwards, but man, it's been an absolute honor to have him. He was only 6 years old, and thank you guys for all the love and support you guys have reached out to me through this hard time. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart because it means a lot to me. So nothing but love to all you guys, and I really mean it. So yeah. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, until next time, I will see you guys Saturday. Again, Sonya, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
This has been awesome. Very cool.
I appreciate it. It's awesome. But thank you guys again. So yeah.